In this lesson, we will create eye controls. Let's get started by hiding the character's face. And we'll now go ahead and create controls that will drive the eye separately. So we'll go ahead and grab a circle. We'll now head over to our front view. Alright, so we'll create a really cool circle. That looks really cool, doesn't it? We'll go ahead and right click to exit our circle tool, and now we can go ahead and move back to our perspective view. Let's go ahead and quick align this over to our eye bone. So that'll be Shift A. We'll go ahead and click on the bone object. Great. From here, what I'd like to do is go ahead and reset its X form. And then we'll go ahead and collapse it down. Alright, great. If you would like, you can head over to your Modify panel and adjust the thickness. That's if you need to. I think that this looks good at 0.001. That works for me. Alright, so from here, let's say we now go ahead and have this stored in our controls layer. Great. What we can do next is go ahead and clone this object. We'll make it a copy, click OK, and now we'll go ahead and quick align the copy over to the right eye. Now grabbing both controls, let's go ahead and move them forward. It'll be a good idea to bring back the face so we can make sure we've moved the controls far enough. We don't want them too close because then they'll flip. So we need to be very careful and make sure we have moved them far enough away. And this should be fine. Alright, sweet. Now, this would be a good time to go ahead and color code and rename these objects. So for the left side, we use that same shade of blue we've been using. And for the right, that'll be green. Alrighty. How about a name? Let's go ahead and name the one on the left, NMLI01. Go ahead and copy that. Take care of the right side. Alright, wonderful. So from here, we can now go ahead and work on creating a parent control that will drive the eyes collectively. So let's go ahead and move back to our front view. What we'll do is go ahead and create a rectangle. So I'll grab the line tool. We'll enable snapping, and we'll get to it. Great. Let's go ahead and close the spline. Let's go ahead and exit the line tool. We'll also disable snapping. And then we'll move back to our perspective view. Let me go ahead and show you how to center this control between the two eye controls. So what we'll do is go ahead and work with a position constraint. We would position constraint to one control, and then underneath our motion panel, underneath position, to get to our position constraint properties, we can go ahead and click on add position target, and now we can go ahead and grab the next control and take a look. Our weights have been averaged, and you can see how that will center the object. We can now right click to exit the position target mode here. And then to clean up this position constraint that we no longer need, we simply go ahead and freeze the object. So let's go ahead and right click and choose freeze transform. Wonderful. Now, in our vertex subobject level, let's go ahead and start adjusting the size of this. It's way too large right now, so we'll go ahead and scale this in. I might also scale it down in the z-axis so it wraps around our controls a bit nicer. That looks great. Alright, let's go ahead and give this a name. That's going to be NM Eyes 01. We'll also have it stored in the controls layer. Alright, great. So next, we'll go ahead and have this linked. We'll have it linked over to our net control. Now, if you were working on a full body rig, you'd want this control linked to your global node. But in this case, we're just linking it to the net control because this is acting as our global node now. But remember, we want the eyes to be able to target, so we don't want to necessarily have the neck affect the eyes on a full body rig. Okay, great. Well, everything's looking nice. Let's say we go ahead and recolor this. We'll use that shade of yellow we've been using. And then we'll make sure to go ahead and reset our X form, collapse it, and then go ahead and freeze it. All right, sweet. Let's head over to our hierarchy panel and talk about what we should lock down. So for our main controller, we only want to lock scale because we can actually go in and rotate this control to correct the orientation of the eyes. And you could also create a googly eye type of effect, leaving your rotation. So that'll be pretty fun. We'll take a look at that very soon. Now for our subcontrollers here, we'll want to lock scale and rotation. So we're just leaving movement. All right, great. So once we've finished with this, we can now go in and basically constrain the eyes. All right, so what I'll do is go ahead and hide the mesh. From here, I'll go ahead and select the eye bone. I'll press the Z key. And then what we'll do is go ahead and apply a look at constraint. Now, very important, let's go ahead and grab our move tool. We'll make sure that the gizmo is set to, let's say, local, so we can see what axis we need to point in. So clearly that is the x-axis, and that is the positive x. All right, so this is good information to know. Let's go ahead and apply our look at constraint. So with the eye bone selected, I'll go ahead and alt right click and grab it from here. Look at constraint, we'll go ahead and click on our control. And there we go, it's pointing in the right direction. So now with the bone object still selected, we'd basically go ahead and find our look at options. And we just want to make sure everything is set correctly. This view line here, if you want it to stop at the target object, you can go ahead and turn off view line length absolute. So now you know exactly where this eye bone is targeting. Now, once you go in and hide that bone object, if we were to go to our layer manager and go ahead and hide, let's say, the skeleton layer, it's going to hide that view line. So that's just something to keep in mind. All right, great. So going back to the eye bone, let's go ahead and take a look. You can see the up node control type is set to axis alignment. If you decide to work on an up node object, which helps to correct flipping issues, you can go ahead and have this set to look at, and then you can assign your look at object. But in this case, it's not necessarily necessary for this eye, so you should be good to go. All right, sweet. And everything else looks good. We already have the look at axis as the x-axis, so I think we're ready to test this out. Let's go ahead and grab our control object. We'll also go ahead and bring back our mesh. Start to move this around. Looks great. You can see how the eyelids also are influenced by the rotation of our eye bone. All right, sweet. So there we go. We can now go ahead and take care of the right eye. So again, I'll hide the mesh. Go ahead and grab the eye bone. We'll apply our look at constraint. All right, sweet. So from here, going to our settings, we'll turn off view line length absolute. If you want to hide it completely, you can go ahead and zero out your view line length. So take a look. This is how we can adjust that length. If we right click on that slider, there's no more view line. But I'll go ahead and have this set to 100% again. Great. And then the look at axis is good. It's the x-axis. I'll go ahead and set the up node control type to look at. And everything else is great. All right, so we can bring back our mesh and we can start to move this next control just to test things out. Wonderful. Now what happens when we take our main control, we start to move that? All right, nothing happens. Well, all we need to do now is go ahead and take care of our subcontrollers. We can make sure that they are linked over to our main control. And then we can go ahead and freeze their transforms. Great. I'll just make sure that the main control has been frozen as well, just to be on the safe side. And we can start to kind of move this around. Wonderful. So the eyes are looking fantastic. And of course, when we grab our global node as we start to resize it, everything works just fine. Awesome stuff. So that's going to complete our work on the eyes. We have the blinks to take care of next, so let's go ahead and move on to the next lesson and get to it.